A heroic black veteran risks his life to save a 6-year-old girl from a speeding truck, only to find himself in a courtroom, facing charges of endangering her, because he's homeless and black. Despite his battlefield valor, the police and prosecutor see only a threat, their doubts unyielding. But then, a single sentence from that little girl silences the room, bringing hardened hearts to tears. It's a lesson adults teach children, but often fail to live by themselves. A truth so piercing it drives a father to his knees, begging for forgiveness in remorse. Join us to witness this gripping story unfold and discover how the words of a 6-year-old can cut like a needle through the conscience of a courtroom. We're eager to hear your thoughts. Share what this story means to you in the comments below. Let's dive into this journey of compassion and justice together. A courtroom in Charlotte falls silent as Marcus Williams, a 68-year-old black veteran, shuffles in, wrists bound by cold steel. His weathered face, etched with decades of struggle, stays low. "State your name," the clerk demands. "Marcus Williams, Staff Sergeant, United States Marines," he replies, voice steady but soft. Judge Rachel Harper glances at his file, then freezes. Her eyes widen, her hand trembles. That name, it stirs a memory buried deep, a story of heroism she's heard since childhood. What secret lies behind this homeless man's name? Why does it shake a judge who's seen it all? One truth will unravel everything. Marcus stands alone, his old military coat too big for his frail frame. Once he wore medals pinned with pride. Now he faces charges for something unthinkable, endangering a child. But the truth is rarely what it seems. On a bitter winter night, Marcus saw a little girl, Lily, darting toward a busy street. He acted on instinct, pulling her from danger. A father's fear and a moment's misunderstanding turned a hero into a suspect. The system that should protect him now judges him. Yet, in this courtroom, a forgotten past is about to resurface, demanding justice. The courtroom crackles as Marcus Williams stands, eyes locked on the floor, a silent pillar under scrutiny. The prosecutor, Michael Grant, strides forward, voice slicing through the hush. He weaves a chilling tale. Marcus, a homeless shadow, lurking near 6-year-old Lily by Reynolds Bakery, a threat to her safety. The charge burns with fear's venom, but truth lies buried. That icy Charlotte night, Lily bolted toward a thundering truck. Marcus, driven by instinct, snatched her back, his rough hands steadying her trembling shoulders. Tom Reynolds, her father, saw only a stranger's grip. Panic blinded him. He tackled Marcus, calling the law. Now Marcus faces a system that scorns his intent. His marine coat, frayed but defiant, cloaks a warrior's frame. His knuckles, scarred from forgotten wars, tighten briefly, then ease. A hero once, now mute under judgment, he lets the lies echo. Grant pushes for punishment, blind to the fracture in his story. Marcus's silence roars. A man who's borne heavier burdens than this. How does one heartbeat turn a rescuer into a rogue? What sparks a father's fury? The courtroom's blind, but the truth stirs, ready to claw its way free. Judge Rachel Harper leans forward, her gaze piercing yet softened by a flicker of recognition. Marcus Williams stands before her, a man worn by time, his marine coat a faded badge of honor. She clears her throat, her voice steady but laced with an undercurrent of curiosity. "Mr. Williams, your file mentions military service. Can you confirm your involvement in Fallujah, April 17th, 2004? Marcus lifts his eyes, the weight of decades in their depths. "Yes, ma'am," he says, his voice low but firm. "I was there. Staff Sergeant, 2nd Battalion, 8th Marines." The room stills, as if the air itself holds its breath. Rachel's fingers tighten around her pen. That date, that place. It's etched in her soul, tied to stories her brother, Captain David Harper, told her long ago. A Marine who ran through a hail of bullets to save a stranded squad, dragging men to safety, never asking for glory. She presses further. Were you part of an operation near the western edge of the city, escorting a supply convoy? Marcus nods, his face etched with memories he rarely speaks of. We got ambushed, lost good men. I just did what needed doing. His words are simple, but they carry the weight of sacrifice. Rachel's mind races. Could this be the man David called a hero? The one in the photograph, standing tall beside her brother, whose name she's carried in her heart for 20 years. She's heard the story countless times. A sergeant who risked everything, who refused to leave anyone behind. Yet here he stands, accused of harming a child, his life reduced to a tattered coat and a courtroom's judgment. The irony cuts deep. Marcus doesn't boast, doesn't plead. His silence speaks louder than any defense. The prosecutor shifts uncomfortably, sensing the shift in the room's mood. Rachel's questions stray from protocol, but no one objects. Her voice softens. Mr. Williams, did you know a Captain David Harper? Marcus's brow furrows, a spark of recognition crossing his face. Yes, ma'am. Young officer, brave. Took a hit that day. I pulled him out. Gasps ripple through the gallery. Rachel's hand trembles, betraying her composure. She spent years searching for the man who saved her brother, only to find him here, broken by the very world he fought for. The truth begins to stir, like a long-buried seed breaking through stone. What kind of system lets a hero fall so far? How does a man who saved lives end up fighting for his own dignity? The answers are closer than anyone in this room could imagine. The courtroom hums as Marcus Williams stands, hands clasped tightly. Judge Rachel Harper's question about Fallujah lingers. The oak doors creak open, and Emma Carter, 38, strides in, navy suit crisp, heels clicking with purpose. She sets a briefcase on the defense table. Your Honor, I'm Emma Carter, here to represent Mr. Williams pro bono. Murmurs ripple through the gallery. Marcus's eyes narrow in confusion. He's never met her. How could he afford her? Rachel raises an eyebrow. This is irregular, Mrs. Carter. Emma nods. A last-minute decision, Your Honor. I request a brief recess. Rachel studies Marcus, silent and unaccustomed to aid. 15 minutes, she says, gavel tapping. Marcus leans toward Emma, voice rasping. Ma'am, I don't have money. Emma's eyes soften, resolve firm. You don't need money, Mr. Williams. This is about justice. The words hang heavy. Marcus feels a flicker of hope, unseen for years. He's been invisible, a shadow in a world that forgot him. Now someone sees him as worth fighting for. The prosecutor, Michael Grant, shuffles papers, rattled. Emma's arrival challenges his narrative of a drifter who doesn't belong. What drove her to this case? The recess begins, questions buzzing. Marcus's mind drifts to Fallujah, to the life he lost. One woman's decision cracks open his past. In the quiet of Judge Rachel Harper's chambers, the air feels heavy with memory. She sits at her desk, her fingers tracing the edges of an old photograph. It shows her brother, Captain David Harper, standing beside a young Marcus Williams, both in Marine uniforms, their faces bright with pride. Rachel's breath catches as she pulls out a worn letter, its creases soft from years of handling. David's words spill across the page. A sergeant who braved gunfire to save his squad. A man who carried him to safety in Fallujah. It's him, she whispers, her voice barely audible. The name Marcus Williams has haunted her for 20 years. a hero she searched for, but never found. Now he sits in her courtroom, accused of a crime that doesn't fit the man David described. Her hands tremble as she sets the photo down. Emma Carter steps inside, her face serious. "Rachel, it's him, isn't it?" she asks, her voice soft but urgent. Rachel nods, her eyes distant. "David wrote about him, the man who saved his life. How does someone like that end up here, Emma?" "Homeless, forgotten?" Emma's expression hardens. PTSD, bad luck, a system that fails its own. Marcus lost his family, his job, everything. But he never stopped being that Marine. Rachel's gaze returns to the letter, her brother's handwriting vivid as the day she first read it. "He said Marcus was the best of them," she murmurs, "refused to leave anyone behind, even when it cost him." The weight of those words presses against her. She's seen countless cases, but this one cuts deeper. A hero reduced to a defendant, judged by a world that owes him everything. Emma leans forward. "We can help him, Rachel, but you need to stay impartial. The prosecutor's watching." Rachel's jaw tightens. "I know the rules, but I can't let him slip away again." The photograph stares back, a reminder of her brother's life, of Marcus's sacrifice. She's spent years wondering about the man who gave her family a few more weeks with David before an IED stole him away. Now, fate has brought Marcus here, and she feels the pull of duty, not just as a judge, but as a sister. What does justice mean for a man who's given so much, only to lose it all? Can a courtroom right the wrongs of a broken system? The answers lie just beyond her door, where Marcus waits, unaware of the past about to collide with his present. The courtroom doors swing open, and a hush falls over the gallery. Captain David Harper, now 50, strides in, his Marine uniform crisp, his face etched with purpose. Behind him, 3 fellow veterans, gray-haired but proud, follow in step. Marcus Williams, still at the defense table, looks up, his eyes widening with a flicker of recognition. David's voice, steady and resonant, fills the room. "Your Honor, I'm here to speak for Staff Sergeant Marcus Williams. On April 17, 2004 in Fallujah, he saved my life and the lives of my men." The words land like a stone in still water, ripples of shock spreading through the crowd. Marcus shifts, uncomfortable under the sudden spotlight, his weathered hands gripping the table's edge. David continues, his gaze locked on his old comrade. "We were pinned down, ambushed. Marcus ran through enemy fire, dragged me to cover, then went back for others. 6 men came home because of him." A veteran in the back, his voice rough with emotion, adds, "I was one of them." The gallery stirs, whispers rising. Judge Rachel Harper, her composure unwavering, nods for David to proceed. He steps forward, holding a polished wooden case. The Marine Corps has long owed Marcus a debt. Today, we honor it. The case opens, revealing the Navy Cross, its blue ribbon gleaming. "For extraordinary bravery," David says, his voice thick. "This belongs to you." Marcus shakes his head, his voice barely above a whisper. "I didn't do anything special, just my job." David smiles, a rare warmth breaking through. That's what heroes always say. The room feels smaller, the air charged with reverence. Emma Carter, Marcus's lawyer, stands silently, her eyes shining with pride. The prosecutor, Michael Grant, shifts in his seat, his earlier confidence shaken. The gallery leans forward, some wiping tears, others nodding in respect. Marcus's past, buried under years of hardship, rises like a tide, washing away the shadow of the charges against him. Yet, the question lingers. Does this heroism erase the accusation of endangering a child? The truth of that night outside Reynolds' bakery remains untold, a puzzle piece still missing. David steps back, his hand resting briefly on Marcus's shoulder. "You never left us behind," he says softly. "We won't leave you now." The veterans behind him stand taller, their presence a silent vow. What does it mean to honor a man who's been forgotten? Can a medal heal the wounds of a life left in the cold? The courtroom holds its breath, waiting for the next turn of this story. The courtroom thrums with electric tension as Marcus Williams' valor grips the gallery, a weight that shifts the air. Judge Rachel Harper steadies her papers, her eyes like flint sparking resolve. Michael Grant stands, his voice a sharpened blade cutting through the hush. "Your Honor, heroism doesn't erase the charge of endangering a child. Tom Reynolds acted to shield his daughter from harm." His words ignite murmurs, stirring unease among the onlookers. Emma Carter rises swiftly, her voice clear and unyielding, slicing through Grant's accusation. "Mr. Williams saved a child from a speeding truck. Fear, not fact, sparked his arrest, a fear that twisted truth into chains." She brandishes a police report, its pages glaringly thin on evidence, a flimsy foundation for such a grave charge. Grant fires back, his tone rising with defiance. This court bends too easily to personal ties, swayed by tales of glory. Rachel's gavel cracks like a whip, silencing the room. "Evidence alone rules here, Mr. Grant," she says, her voice taut with authority. "Ms. Carter, do you have witnesses to back Mr. Williams's actions?" Emma nods, her gaze steady. "They're close, Your Honor, ready to speak." Marcus sits, his face carved from stone, a man no stranger to false judgment, his silence a shield against the storm. Grant presses harder, leaning forward. "Tom saw a man in his state, unkempt, unknown, and acted on instinct to protect his child." Emma's eyes flash, her retort swift. Instinct? Or a snap judgment against a black veteran, homeless and unseen? "Tom struck first, asked nothing, let bias guide his fist." The air crackles with tension, the word bias, a spark in dry tinder. Rachel raises a hand, her voice cutting through. "Enough. All evidence will be heard, and heard fairly." Her mind churns. Marcus's past screams his innocence, a truth she feels in her bones, but the chains of impartiality bind her tightly. The gallery hums with restless energy, questions swirling. Did Tom's panic hold any merit, or did fear betray him utterly? Would you flinch at a stranger's shadow near your own child, or pause to see the man beneath? Did the police leap to cuffs too swiftly, shackling a hero without cause? Marcus bears the scars of a system that's failed him before, his silence a testament to endurance. Justice teeters on a knife's edge, poised for the truth to tip the scales. The courtroom doors swing wide, and a profound silence crashes down as Anna Reynolds steps forward, her hand gently guiding 6-year-old Lily. The girl clutches a crumpled drawing, her eyes blazing with a fierce, unshakable purpose that belies her age. Anna's face is taut, her voice steady yet laden with emotion as she addresses the bench. "Your Honor, my daughter must speak, for the truth rests with her." Judge Rachel Harper nods, her gaze softening, inviting the child to step into the light. Lily raises her sketch, a vivid, heartfelt rendering of a man in a tattered coat, his arms outstretched, shielding a small figure from a roaring truck. "This is Mr. Marcus," she declares, her voice ringing clear, slicing through the room's heavy air. "He saved me." Gasps erupt, sweeping through the gallery like a sudden gust. Anna's words fall like stones into still water, rippling outward. I found this hidden in Lily's room, tucked under her pillow. She was too scared to tell us at first, afraid we wouldn't listen. That night, she slipped away, chasing a stray cat into traffic. Marcus saw her, lunged across the icy street and yanked her back from a truck's path, his hands steadying her trembling frame. Lily's small smile finds Marcus Williams across the room. He looks down, his weathered face softening, a man who's lived unseen now, illuminated by a child's truth. Anna's voice cracks, raw with guilt and awe. When I saw her drawing, my heart shattered. I sat on her bed, staring at this image of Marcus as her protector, and asked why she hid it. She said she was crushed by what came after, not by him, but by the chaos that followed. Her hands tremble, betraying the weight of her realization. I failed to see her pain until that moment. Emma Carter steps forward, her voice firm but reverent. This drawing proves Mr. Williams's truth. He protected, not harmed, a child in peril. Michael Grant freezes, his face tightening as the narrative crumbles. He exhales sharply, then nods. I withdraw my objection, he mutters, his voice low, conceding to the undeniable. The gallery leans closer, some weeping openly, others whispering in hushed awe. Anna presses on, her voice breaking fully now. Lily's silence these past days wasn't from Marcus's actions. It was from watching her father attack the man who saved her life. She saw Tom strike him, saw the police drag him away, and it broke her trust. The room feels smaller, its walls closing in as truth reshapes every lie, every assumption. Marcus took Tom's blow without resistance, stayed mute as cuffs snapped on, his only desire to keep a child safe. What blinds a world to such a man? How does fear unravel a hero's quiet grace? Lily's drawing, now resting in Rachel's hands, stands as more than evidence. It's a mirror, reflecting the chasm between perception and reality. The truth demands its voice, and justice stirs, ready to rise from the ashes of misunderstanding. Lily's words linger like a beacon in the courtroom's gloom, her drawing a torch, illuminating truth. Tom Reynolds slumps in the gallery, his face drained of color, a man unraveled. Lily steps closer, her small frame radiating a piercing resolve. "Daddy, why did you hurt the man who saved me?" "Mommy taught us to be kind to everyone." Her voice, sharp yet innocent, cuts through the air like a blade, slicing open hearts. Tom rises, his legs unsteady, his voice splintering under the weight of her gaze. "I was scared, Lily. I thought he'd harm you. Thought I was keeping you safe." He turns to Marcus Williams, his eyes raw with remorse. "Mr. Williams, I was so wrong. I'm sorry, from my soul." He sinks to his knees, head bowed, a father broken by his own fear's betrayal. Marcus steps forward, his weathered hand resting gently on Tom's shoulder, steady as ever. "I forgive you," he says, his voice low but resolute, unwavering. "You were guarding your girl, doing what a father does." Lily rushes to Marcus, her small hands gripping his frayed marine coat in a fierce, desperate hug. "You're my hero, Mr. Marcus," she whispers, her voice muffled against his chest. Marcus kneels to her level, his eyes softening, a rare smile breaking through his guarded face. "You're the brave one, little lady, speaking up like that." The gallery stirs, tears glinting in eyes, murmurs of awe rippling through. Judge Rachel Harper's voice rises, firm and commanding. The police rushed to judgment that night, assuming guilt without proof. This court demands a full review of protocols that failed Mr. Williams, eroding the trust we're bound to uphold. She faces Marcus, her tone softening but resolute. You saved a life, Mr. Williams, yet bore the cost of others' errors, a burden no man should carry. The air grows heavy, the sting of misjudgment laid bare for all to see. Tom clasps Anna's hand tightly, his daughter's question a mirror reflecting his shame. Marcus meets Lily's gaze, warmth radiating from him, a quiet strength unbroken. What does forgiveness mean in a world so quick to condemn? How does a child's unfiltered truth reshape a man's fate, turning shadows into light? Justice takes root in these quiet moments where hearts shift and redemption begins to bloom. The courtroom falls into a hushed reverence as Marcus Williams stands, his marine coat worn but proud, a testament to battles fought and endured. Judge Rachel Harper leans forward, her voice warm, carrying a quiet awe. Mr. Williams, after all you've faced, misjudgment, pain, the weight of this ordeal, would you still help a stranger in need? Marcus lifts his gaze, his eyes burning with an unshakable resolve that silences the room. Yes, ma'am, he says, his voice firm, unwavering. I'll always help, no matter what. His words pierce every heart, a simple truth that resonates like a bell in the stillness. Veterans in the gallery bow their heads, their reverence a silent hymn to his spirit. Rachel lifts a fragile letter from Captain David Harper, its pages worn but powerful. My brother wrote that you never left a soul behind, Mr. Williams. Today we honor that vow, and we stand with you. She gestures, and a veteran's forward aide steps forward, offering keys to a new apartment and restored benefits, a lifeline long overdue. Marcus's hand trembles as he accepts, his voice a whisper. Thank you, ma'am. Outside, snow dusts Charlotte's streets, a quiet blanket of hope. In his new home, Marcus hangs his Navy Cross beside David's letter, his fingers tracing the words, "Never left anyone behind." Fallujah's ghosts hover, memories of fire and sacrifice, yet he's carried on, asking nothing in return. The gallery holds close the memory of Lily's drawing, Tom's raw remorse, and Marcus's boundless grace. What does kindness cost in a world steeped in fear and haste? Marcus's heart, scarred but steadfast, offers the answer. You hold the power to change a life. Visit a veteran at a shelter, listen to their story, or question the snap judgments that cloud your own lens. Join Veterans Forward, donate your time, or simply pause before casting a stranger aside. Every small act weaves a world where heroes like Marcus stand tall, where their dignity shines brighter than any medal ever could. His life, forged in sacrifice, calls us to do better, to see clearer, to build a legacy where no one is left behind.